Let's take a listen at this video.
I believe it's the gentlelady from Washington and then the gentlelady from California. The gentlelady from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I oppose this bill, but I want to go back to what happened in Minnesota because I just think that this is so critical on so many different levels. There's new information coming out every minute. I'm tracking this very closely. I want to enter into the record an article from the Washington Post entitled, "ICE Agent Was Not in Vehicle's Path When He Fired at Driver." I also want to enter into the record an article from the New York Times that is titled, "Minnesota Officials Say They're Being Blocked from Investigating Fatal ICE Shooting."
Without objection.
And the reason I think this is very important is because we have video footage that is being shown across this country about what happened in Minnesota when Ms. Good was shot 3 times by an ICE agent as her car was being turned to move away.
Yep.
And we also have immediately, not days later, immediately, the Secretary of Homeland Security, who has billions of dollars at her disposal, taxpayer dollars, who has been using ICE agents to kidnap and disappear people across our cities, including US citizens, by the way, mass detention policies that have been ruled illegal by numerous judges across the country with no due process, which is what this committee is supposed to ensure that we have. And that Secretary of Homeland Security, combined with the President of the United States, within hours, put out statements that were absolutely lies. And that's coming out now with all this video footage. And what happens, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, what happens is we live in 2 realities. We here in Congress are living in 2 realities, where we have one reality of what's happening to the American people. Healthcare is being stolen. We're invading Venezuela without authorization from Congress. Congratulations to the Republicans in the Senate who voted for the War Powers Resolution where it passed in the Senate on Venezuela. We are seeing a reality on television of an American citizen who was sitting in her car be violently approached by an ICE agent and then turning her car away and being shot 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. When you have the President and the Secretary of Homeland Security now give an alternate reality to what happened, what you do is you undermine any trust that may have existed in the United States government. Because that's who's saying these lies.
Exactly.
And when you undermine the trust, and maybe this is the proposition that my colleagues across the aisle are okay with, I don't know. But when you undermine that kind of trust in our government, in our democracy, that is when you have lawlessness. And look, this isn't the first time. January 6th happened. I was in that gallery when January 6th happened. I couldn't walk, I had a cane, I just had a knee surgery, and I was one of the last people to be let out of the gallery. And to tell me that that didn't happen, that that was not a violent insurrection incited by the President of the United States, confirmed by a special counsel that he was absolutely trying to steal that election, is not just a disservice, that's too mild of a word. It is fundamentally undermining people's faith in government. Because when I see these articles that say ICE agent was not in the vehicle's path when he fired at the driver, and that is directly contradictory to what the President of the United States has said, how can we accept anything from this government, from this administration. He wants to set up an offshore account for Venezuelan oil that we sell. And I don't know, is he going to control that account? I have no idea. But I am deeply disturbed about this killing, about the lack of accountability from this committee, about the fact that members on the other side are defending this killing. And I think we have to think about the consequences to our democracy and to our judiciary system and to the
even if this officer or officers go to court, they will be pardoned by Donald Trump. They will be, just like January 6th insurrection happened and those people were pardoned. Same thing will happen. So under Donald Trump, in other words, you can just commit any crime, you can even kill people and get away with it. You will be held never accountable. But guess what? The good news is he's not going to run for future election again. So who's going to forgive these people, these criminals? So be careful, guys. If you are someone who is willing to shed blood of another American citizen.